Welcome to my channel. Today I want to ask you something very important. Have you ever felt like giving up on English? Be honest with yourself. Maybe you studied for weeks, but when you try to speak, the words just disappear from your mind. Maybe you listened carefully, but you still couldn't understand what people were saying. Maybe someone even laughed at your mistakes. And in that moment, you thought maybe English is not for me. I know exactly how that feels because I was in the same place. I also thought about giving up many times. But let me tell you a secret. Learning English is not about being the best or being perfect. It is about never stopping even when it feels hard. Every mistake is a lesson, and every small step brings you closer. So stay with me until the very end of this video because I will share with you how to stay strong, how to keep your motivation alive, and how to make sure you never give up on English. Chapter 1. Why people give up on English. When we start learning English, most of us feel excited. We buy a notebook. We watch videos. Maybe we download an app. In the beginning, everything feels new and interesting. But after some time, many people start to feel tired. They start to think, this is too difficult. I will never get better. This is the moment when many learners give up. But why does this happen? Why do so many people stop learning even when they really want to speak English? Let's talk about it. One of the biggest reasons is fear of mistakes. Many people are afraid to say something wrong. They think, what if people laugh at me? What if I sound stupid? What if I cannot say the words correctly? I felt the same way when I started. I remember one day, I tried to order food in English. My heart was beating so fast, and when I finally spoke, I mixed up the words. The person did not understand me, and I felt so embarrassed. For a moment, I wanted to stop speaking English forever. I thought maybe I'm not good enough for this language. But here's the truth. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. Mistakes are not something to be afraid of. They are part of the learning process. Without mistakes, you cannot grow. Every mistake is like a teacher that shows you the right way next time. Another reason people give up is slow progress. When you first start, you learn new words quickly. You feel like you are improving every day. But after some months, the progress feels slower. You try to watch a movie and you still don't understand much. You try to talk and you still forget words. You may think I'm not improving. I will never be fluent. This feeling is very common. I remember when I studied for 6 months, I thought I was not moving forward. I felt stuck. But what I didn't realize was that my brain was still learning even if I couldn't see the results immediately. Learning a language is not a straight line. Sometimes you move fast, sometimes slow, but you're always moving forward. The important thing is to keep going even when it feels slow. The next reason is comparing yourself to others. Maybe you see a friend who speaks better than you. Maybe you watch someone online and they seem perfect in English. You think, why can't I be like them? Maybe I'm just not talented. I also compare myself to others many times. I had a friend who spoke so naturally and I always felt small next to him. But later I understood something important. Everyone has their own journey. Maybe your friend has more practice. Maybe they started earlier. Maybe they had different opportunities. But that doesn't mean you cannot reach the same level. You just need your own time. When you compare yourself to others, you feel weak. But when you compare yourself to yesterday's version of you, you will see how much you are growing. And of course, another big reason is lack of confidence. Some people learn English for years, but they never speak. They know words, They understand grammar, but they are afraid to open their mouth. They don't believe in themselves. I remember sitting in class, knowing the answer, but staying silent because I was too shy. Confidence is not something you are born with. Confidence comes when you practice. The first time you speak, you will be scared. The second time, a little less. The third time, even less. And step by step, your fear will turn into confidence. Now, let me tell you about the most powerful moment in my learning journey. The spike moment that changed everything for me. After many mistakes, slow progress, and low confidence, I was ready to give up. One night, I was writing in my notebook, and I wrote a sentence in English. It was simple, something like, "Today I feel happy because I ate my favorite food." And then I realized this sentence was perfect. I didn't translate it. I didn't copy it. I just wrote it naturally. At that moment, I understood all my mistakes, all my struggles, all my slow days. They were not useless. They were helping me reach this moment. I realized that mistakes are not the end. They are the beginning of learning. Without mistakes, I could not have reached that small victory. That moment gave me hope. It showed me that progress is real, even if it feels invisible sometimes. So if you're watching this and you feel like giving up, I want you to remember this. You are not alone. Every English learner, even me, has felt the same way. Fear, slow progress, comparison, lack of confidence, they are all normal, but they are not reasons to stop. They are signs that you are learning. Mistakes mean you are trying. Slow progress means you're still moving. Comparison means you care about your growth. And lack of confidence means you are ready to build strength. The real difference between people who succeed and people who quit is simple. The ones who succeed never give up. They keep going even when it's hard. They keep speaking even when they make mistakes. They keep practicing even when progress feels slow, and one day they look back and say, "I did it." That could be your story too. Stay with me, because in the next chapter 1 will show you how small steps create big changes in your English journey. Chapter 2. Small steps create big change. When people think about learning English, they often imagine something big. They think they need to study for hours every day, or take expensive classes, or live in an English-speaking country. Because of this, many learners feel overwhelmed before they even begin. They look at the mountain of English and think, "This is too high. I can't climb it." But here's the truth. No one climbs a mountain in one big jump. You reach the top by taking one small step at a time. And the same is true for English. When I first started learning, I wanted to be fluent quickly. I thought if I studied really hard for 1 week, I could speak like a native speaker. But of course, that didn't happen. After a few days, I felt tired and I forgot most of what I studied. I wanted to quit. Then one day someone told me, "Don't try to climb the whole mountain in one day. Just take one step today and another tomorrow." At first, I didn't believe it, but later I discovered that this advice was true. Small steps are the secret to big change. Think about planting a tree. When you put a seed in the ground, nothing happens right away. You water it today, you water it tomorrow, and still you don't see a tree. But little by little something begins to grow under the soil. You can't see it, but it's happening. Then one day you see a small green leaf. Later the tree becomes taller and stronger. Learning English is just like that tree. You may not see the results right away, but every small step you take is making your English grow. Even 5 minutes of practice every day can make a big difference. You might think 5 minutes, that's too little. It won't help me. But let me give you an example. If you practice for 5 minutes every day, in 1 week, that's 35 minutes. In 1 month, that's about 2 hours. In 1 year, that's more than 20 hours of extra English practice. And the best part is you didn't even feel tired because you only practiced a little each day. Here's a spike moment I want you to imagine. One day you're listening to someone speak English. Maybe it's in a movie. Maybe it's in real life. Suddenly you understand a full sentence without translating in your head. In that moment, it feels like magic. You realize I didn't study this one sentence. I didn't translate word by word. My brain just understood it. That is the power of small steps. Every little practice you do, listening, reading, speaking, builds up inside your brain until suddenly something clicks. And that moment feels amazing. I remember the first time this happened to me. I was watching a simple TV show and one character said, "I don't know what to do." It was such a simple sentence, but I understood it instantly without thinking in my own language. I cannot explain how happy I felt. It was like I found a treasure. And from that moment, I believe in small steps because I knew every little thing I was doing was slowly changing the way my brain worked. Another reason small steps are powerful is because they keep you consistent. If you tell yourself, "I will study English for 2 hours every day," maybe you can do it for 2 or 3 days. But soon you will feel tired and stop. On the other hand, if you say, "I will study for 10 minutes every day," it feels easy. You could do it while drinking tea, while waiting for a bus, or before going to bed. And because it feels easy, you can continue for a long time. This is why small steps went over big steps. They are possible and they keep you moving forward. Now, let's talk about perfection. Many learners think if I don't say this sentence perfectly, I should not say it at all. But that idea stops you from practicing. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is. Imagine a baby learning to walk. The baby doesn't wait until it can walk perfectly. It stands up. It falls down. It tries again. It takes one small step. And every step, even a falling, is part of the progress. You must treat your English like that. Don't wait until you feel perfect. Start today with small, simple sentences. Say what you can. The perfection will come later, but the progress starts now. Let me give you some simple, small steps you can take today. Listen to one English song and try to repeat one line. Read a short paragraph from a book or an article. Write 2 sentences about your day in a notebook. Speak one sentence out loud to yourself in the mirror. These may look too small, but trust me, they add up. Day by day, they build your English muscle. The most important thing is to believe in the power of these little actions. Don't think they are useless. Don't say this is too small to help me, because one day you will look back and realize those small steps were the reason you can now speak, listen, read, and write much better than before. So remember, learning English is not a race. You don't need to do everything today. You just need to take one step today, another step tomorrow, and another the day after that. Like climbing a mountain, like planting a tree, like a baby learning to walk. You move slowly, but you keep moving. And before you know it, you will look back and see how far you've come. Stay with me, because in the next chapter, we will talk about the power of practice, and I will share with you fun and simple ways to practice English every day without feeling bored. Chapter 3. The Power of Practice. Now that we understand the importance of small steps, let's talk about the thing that makes those steps powerful. Practice. Many learners believe that practice means sitting at a desk for hours, memorizing long word lists or grammar rules. And yes, studying is important. But practice is not only about books. Practice is about using English in your daily life in simple, fun, and natural ways. The more you practice, the more English becomes part of you. When I first started learning English, I thought practice was boring. I repeated words again and again. I wrote long lists, but I felt tired. Then I realized something important. Practice doesn't have to be boring. In fact, the best practice is often the one that feels like play. Think of children. They learn their first language by playing, by singing, by listening to stories. They don't sit with grammar books, and yet they become fluent. You could do the same with English. One of the best ways to practice is listening. You don't need to understand everything. Just listen. You can listen to songs, podcasts, or even short clips on YouTube. At first, the words may sound too fast. That's okay. Your brain is learning the rhythm, the sound, the music of English. Every time you listen, you're training your ears. I remember listening to English songs without understanding anything. But later when I heard the same songs again, suddenly some words became clear. That's when I knew my brain was working even when I felt lost. Listening every day, even for a few minutes, is like feeding your brain with English. Another way to practice is speaking. Many learners wait until they feel ready to speak. But if you wait, you may never feel ready. The best time to start speaking is now. You don't need a partner. You can speak to yourself. I used to talk to myself in English all the time. I would say things like, I am hungry. I want to eat rice. Or I would ask myself, how are you today? And answer, I am fine. At first it felt funny, but slowly it became natural. Speaking out loud, even when you are alone, helps your mouth and brain work together. And when you finally talk to other people, it will feel easier. Reading is another powerful practice. You don't need to start with big books. Begin with something easy. Children's books are great because they use simple words and short sentences. You can also read simple news articles or even social media posts. The key is to enjoy what you read. And here's a trick. Read out loud. When you read out loud, you are practicing two skills at once, reading and speaking. It also helps you feel more comfortable with English sounds. I remember reading children's stories and feeling proud just because I could read one full page without stopping. That small victory gave me the motivation to keep going. And don't forget about writing. Many learners avoid writing because they think it has to be perfect. But writing is just another form of practice. Start small. Write 2 or 3 sentences about your day. Today I went to the market. I bought apples. I felt happy. That's enough. Later you can try writing longer things like a journal. Writing helps you think in English because you're creating your own sentences, not just repeating what others say. I used to write every night before bed, and when I read my old notes months later, I could see how much better I had become. Now, let's have some fun to practice. Watching movies or TV shows in English can be a great way to learn. At first, use subtitles in your own language. Then, when you feel ready, switch to English subtitles. Later, try watching without subtitles at all. This may sound difficult, But it's not about understanding every word. It's about catching the rhythm, the tone, and the expressions. I learned many natural phrases just by watching how actors spoke. Sometimes I would repeat the lines like an actor, pretending I was in the scene. It felt fun, but it was also practice. There are also many apps that can help you practice. Some apps let you talk to people around the world. Others give you small exercises with vocabulary and pronunciation. Even 5 minutes on an app every day can add up to big improvement. The good thing is you can practice anywhere, on the bus, while waiting in line, or during a break. Here's the spike moment I want you to remember. Practice doesn't have to feel like schoolwork. It can be part of your daily life. You can sing along with a song while cooking. You can describe what you see while walking on a street. That is a car. The car is red. You can talk to yourself in the mirror while brushing your teeth. You can write a shopping list in English. Every small activity like this is practice. And because it feels natural and fun, you won't feel tired. The truth is practice is the bridge between learning and using. You can study rules all day, but without practice, they remain in the book. When you practice, you bring English into your life. And the more you bring it into your life, the stronger it becomes. So remember, practice every day, even for a short time. Listen, speak, read, and write. Try different ways and find what feels fun for you. The more you practice, the more English becomes part of you. Not just something you study, but something you live. Stay with me, because in the next chapter we will talk about how to turn fear into confidence and how to speak English even when you feel nervous. That will be your next big step. Chapter 4. Turning fear into confidence. Fear. It is one of the strongest feelings in the journey of learning English. Many learners can read. Many learners can write. Some learners can even listen and understand. But when the moment comes to actually speak, their voice disappears. Their heart beats faster, their hands sweat, and their mind goes blank. I know this feeling so well because I lived through it myself. I remember the first time I tried to speak English with strangers. It was at a small cafe where some tourists were sitting at the table next to mine. I heard them laughing and talking in English. And for a moment I thought, this is my chance. I can say something. But then another voice inside my head whispered, what if they don't understand you? What if you say something wrong? What if they laugh at you? That inner voice was my fear. And because of that fear, I stayed silent for almost 10 minutes. I pretended to be busy on my phone, but inside I was fighting myself. Finally, I decided to be brave. I took a deep breath, walked to their table, and asked a simple question. Excuse me, is this seat free? My voice was shaking, and I probably mispronounced one of the words, but they smiled and said, yes, please. That was it. Just one sentence. Just one answer. But you know what? I felt like I had climbed a mountain. My fear was so big in my head, but in reality, nothing bad happened. They didn't laugh at me. They didn't get angry. They didn't even look confused. They understood me. And that small success gave me confidence to try again another time. That's the first lesson I want to share with you. Fear always looks bigger than it really is. In your mind, fear is like a giant shadow. But when you finally step forward and face it, you realize the shadow comes from something very small. Why do learners feel fear when speaking English? One reason is the fear of mistakes. We think mistakes will make us look stupid. But the truth is mistakes are proof that you're learning. A baby never feels embarrassed when falling while learning to walk. A baby just stands up again and tries one more time. You too can treat your mistakes in English like baby steps. They're not failures. They're the path to success. Another reason learners feel fear is because they compare themselves to others. You might hear someone speak English fluently and then think, I am not good enough. But remember, you're not in competition with anyone. Your journey is yours alone. Even one new word you speak today is progress compared to yesterday. Confidence grows when you measure yourself against your own past, not against someone else's present. So, how can you turn fear into confidence? Let me give you some tools. First, practice speaking in safe spaces. Talk to yourself in English at home. Describe what you're doing. I am cooking rice. I am washing dishes. I am opening the window. No one is watching. No one is judging. You are free to make mistakes. And your confidence grows little by little. Second, prepare simple sentences that you can use again and again. For example, how are you? Can you help me? I don't understand. These short expressions are like your safety net. When you go out into the real world and meet someone, you already have these sentences ready in your mind. The more you use them, the more natural they feel. Third, celebrate every small victory. Maybe today you said one word to a stranger. Maybe tomorrow you will say 2 sentences. Each time you try, you are building a wall of confidence brick by brick. Confidence is not a gift. It is something you create for yourself through action. And here comes the spike moment. Fear becomes smaller every time you try. The first time is the hardest. The second time is easier. The third time feels even more natural. And then one day, without even noticing it, you realize that speaking English no longer makes your heart race. You feel calm, you feel capable, and you even start to enjoy the moment. Let me tell you another story. A friend of mine, Maria, refused to speak English for years. She said, I am too shy. People will laugh at me. One day, I encouraged her to join a free language exchange. She was terrified at the beginning, but after 10 minutes of conversation, she realized something powerful. Everyone in the room was also making mistakes. No one laughed. No one judged. Instead, they helped each other. That night, Maria went home smiling. She said, I never thought I could enjoy speaking English. Today, Maria talks with confidence. Not because she never makes mistakes, but because she learned that mistakes are not the enemy. They're the teacher. So, if you feel fear when speaking English, remember this. Smile, breathe, and speak anyway. Your smile makes people feel comfortable. Your breath calms your nerves. And your voice, yes, even if it shakes a little, will carry your message across. The more you do it, the stronger your voice becomes. Don't wait for the day when you feel ready. That day may never come. Instead, take the first step now. Even if it is small, even if it is imperfect, confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes because of action. In the end, turning fear into confidence is not about being perfect. It is about being brave. Each time you face your fear, you grow stronger. Each time you open your mouth, you open a new door in your life. English is not just a language. It is a bridge. And the first step to crossing that bridge is not to wait until fear disappears, but to walk forward even while fear is standing beside you. Chapter 5. Stay motivated on the journey. Motivation is like the fuel in your car. Without it, you cannot go very far, even if the car is strong and the road is clear. In English learning, the same thing happens. You can have the best books, the best teachers, the best apps, but if you lose motivation, you stop moving. And when you stop moving, you feel stuck, lost, and sometimes you want to give up. That is why motivation is not just something nice to have. It is the heart of your journey. But the truth is no one can stay motivated every single day. We all have days when we feel tired, when progress looks slow, when mistakes make us feel weak. So the question is not how do I always stay motivated? The real question is how do I find motivation again and again, even when I feel like stopping? When I first started learning English, I thought motivation was something that comes from outside. I thought I needed someone to push me all the time, or a teacher to encourage me, or friends to clap for me. But I discovered something very important. Motivation is like a muscle. You must build it inside yourself. At first, the muscle is small and weak. But every time you choose to continue, every time you say, I will practice for just 5 minutes today, your motivation muscle grows. Soon you don't wait for other people to inspire you. You inspire yourself. Think about it like exercising your body. If you go to the gym one time, nothing really changes. Your muscles are still the same. But if you go many times, little by little, you become stronger. Motivation works the same way. You don't need a huge fire of energy every day. You only need a small spark that keeps you going. And if you keep going, that small spark becomes a bigger fire. I like to compare learning English to watering a plant. When you first plant the seed, you don't see anything. You water the soil, but it looks empty. Days pass, and still nothing appears. Many people give up at this stage because they think, why should I water the soil if I don't see results? But if you stop watering, the seed dies and the plant never grows. If you keep watering, one day a small green leaf appears. That moment is like magic. And if you continue, the plant grows taller, stronger, until one day it gives you flowers or fruit. English learning is exactly the same. Your small daily practice is the water. You may not see results right away, but something is growing inside you. One day you will notice it. Suddenly you understand a full sentence. Suddenly you speak without thinking. Suddenly you feel confident. That is the flower of your hard work. Another way to stay motivated is to set small, clear goals. Many learners only have one big goal. I want to speak English fluently. But this goal is so big that it feels impossible. And when something feels impossible, your motivation disappears. Instead, break it into smaller goals. For example, this week I will learn 10 new words. Or today, I will practice speaking for 3 minutes. Or this month, I will finish reading one easy English book. These small goals are like bricks. Every time you achieve one, you place another brick in your English house. Step by step, the house becomes bigger, and when you look back, you realize you have built something amazing. Celebrating achievements is also very important. Too many learners focus only on what they cannot do yet. They say, my English is still bad, or I still make mistakes. But they forget to celebrate how far they have already come. When you learned your first English word, that was an achievement. When you understood your first English song, that was a victory. When you had your first English conversation, Even with mistakes, that was a success. Celebrate these moments because they are proof that you are growing. Every time you celebrate, you give your brain a message. Keep going. This is working. Let me tell you a story. When I was learning English, there was a time when I felt very tired. I studied a lot, but I still made many mistakes. One night I thought, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I will never be good at English. But then I asked myself, what if I don't stop? What will happen in 1 year if I keep practicing even a little every day? I closed my eyes and imagined myself speaking English. 1 year later, I saw myself traveling, making new friends, watching movies without subtitles. That picture in my mind gave me energy again. I said, okay, I will not give up today. And 1 year later, I was living the dream I had imagined. So here is the spike moment I want you to remember. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. Imagine that you never gave up. Imagine that you continued step by step, even on the hard days. Picture yourself speaking English with confidence, reading books with joy, understanding conversations easily. That future version of you is waiting, and the only way to meet that future self is to keep going today. Motivation is not something far away. It is something you create. Every time you take one small step, every time you practice, you're saying to yourself, I believe in me. So don't wait for the perfect day. Don't wait for the perfect teacher. Don't wait for magic. The magic is already inside you. Keep watering your plant. Keep adding bricks to your house. Keep exercising your motivation muscle. One day you will look back and realize the journey itself made you strong. Chapter 6. Never give up on English. When we arrive at this point of the journey, it feels like looking back from the top of a hill. You could see the road you walked, the moments when you wanted to stop, the times you felt too tired, the times you doubted yourself. But you also see something even more powerful. You see that you kept going. And that is the message of this chapter. Never give up on English. Because if you don't quit, you cannot lose. You may walk slowly. You may pause. You may even stumble. But as long as you keep moving, you will arrive. I want to start with something very personal. I remember one night many years ago when I sat at my desk with an English book open in front of me. I had studied that same page 3 times, and still the words seemed blurry. My brain was tired, and I thought, what if I'm not good enough for this? Maybe English is not for me. It was a heavy feeling like carrying a stone in my chest. I closed the book and almost decided to stop forever. But then another thought came. If I give up today, I will never know how far I could have gone. That little thought changed everything. Instead of quitting, I gave myself permission to go slowly. I told myself, I don't need to be perfect today. I just need to keep trying tomorrow. And this is the secret that I want you to take with you. The people who succeed in learning English are not the people who never make mistakes, or the people who are always confident, or the people who learn super fast. No, the people who succeed are simply the ones who don't give up. They fall, but they get up. They forget, but they try again. They feel shy, but they speak anyway. Every time you try again, you are winning. Think about it like this. Imagine a plant growing in the ground. Some days the sun shines and the plant grows fast. Some days it rains too much and the plant bends down. Some days the wind blows and the plant shakes. But as long as the plant stays rooted, as long as it does not give up, it will grow into a tree. You're that plant. Your roots are your hope. Your tree is your English voice. Now, let's imagine something powerful together. Close your eyes for a moment and see yourself 1 year from today. Picture yourself walking into a room where people are speaking English. At first, you feel a little nervous, but then you open your mouth and the words come out more easily than before. You introduce yourself. You share your thoughts. You laugh with them. And in that moment, you realize, this is me. I can speak English. That future self is waiting for you. That future self is cheering for you right now. But you can only meet that version of you if you don't give up today. There will be times when it feels too hard. There will be days when you want to close the book, turn off the app, or avoid the conversation. That is normal. That happens to everyone, even in native speakers learning another language. But here is something to remember. You don't need to be strong every single day. You only need to come back. If you're tired today, rest. If you're discouraged tomorrow, breathe. But always return, because the moment you return, the journey continues. Let me tell you another quick story. The first time I recorded myself speaking English, I hated the result. My voice sounded strange. My pronunciation was bad, and I thought, this is terrible. I almost deleted the recording and promised myself I would never do it again. But instead, I kept it. Weeks later, I recorded again. It was still not perfect, but I noticed one word sounded better. Then months later, I compared the two recordings and I realized how far I'd come. If I had quit after the first try, I would have never felt that moment of victory. And trust me, those little victories are waiting for you too. So here is the final spike, the strongest truth I want to leave you with. Your English voice is already inside you. It is not something you must borrow from others or something only gifted people can have. It is yours. It is sleeping now, maybe hidden under fear, under doubt, under old mistakes. But it is there. Every small step you take, every practice, every word you dare to say brings that voice closer to the surface. And one day it will shine so clearly that you will look back and say, I never knew I had this inside me. Remember, speed does not matter. Perfection does not matter. What matters is that you do not stop. One day you will be the person others look at and think, wow, they speak English so well. I wish I could do that. And in that moment you will smile because you will know the truth. You're not special. You're simply someone who never gave up. So today I want you to make a promise not to me, but to yourself. A promise that no matter how many mistakes you make, no matter how slow you fail, no matter how many times you fall, you will never quit on your English. Because your future self is waiting for you. Your English voice is waiting for you. And you're strong enough to keep going until you find it.